The theme of isolation has been portrayed throughout the whole novella. Santiago, as an old man, chooses to live a life of isolation. Throughout his isolation, he tends to speak to himself for encouragement and hope. Santiago, as an old man, had experienced life and has a purpose of life that is completely antithetical to the other fishers. The old man is ostracized from the rest of the world and is living in solitude. The music being used in our project is based on the theme of isolation. The song is a mixture of separation and hope. The purpose is to evoke the ambience of isolation and depression. The sound of rain and the piano is deliberately added to emphasize the feeling of seclusion. The old man's shack displays the theme of isolation. The shack was made of the tough butt shields of the royal paw, which are called guano, and in it there was a bed, a table, one chair, and a place on the dirt place to cook with charcoal. Santiago only had the bare necessities in his shack. He even took down the picture of his wife because it made him feel too lonely. This picture that is shown shows his isolated shack. It has almost nothing. However, notice that the door is open, which shows that he still welcomes people and is in need of them. When the old man was in town, his isolation was really obvious. Even though he is not physically isolated, he is still isolated socially. The society made fun of him, and he was really alone. In this picture, it is shown that differences are usually not accepted in the society. The figure in the middle of the road is separated from the rest of the people, as if there's an invisible barrier between them.
His physical isolation started when he went fishing after 85 unlucky days to sea. Throughout his isolation period, the old man wished that the boy was with him to aid his conquest. He had sought for help and company since he thought he could not bear with the pressure of having to do all by himself. This picture here shows how Santiago started to physically separate himself from people and the relationship he started to create with the fish. Sometimes he has no one to rely on other than himself. During then he seeks help from bigger strengths such as God. He compromised with God that if God helped him with catching the fish, he would say the prayers of our Father or Hail Marys. The picture shown is a picture of church. The picture symbolizes his religious belief. He is not a religious person, however, he used his religion to escape from the miserable face of his.
To overcome his loneliness, he fabricated his own companions by communicating with anything, such as his hand, himself, and nature. When he is self-communicating, he is often on denial. He tried to cheer himself up as if he was another person. When he had a negative thought, he tries to be optimistic. And by self-communicating, he managed to do some incredible things, like catching the fish. The picture here represents his self-reflection and him communicating to himself. Sometimes he wished and dreamed about the able life he had when he was young. He wished he still had the same strength he had to overcome the obstacles. However, in the end, it's proof that his determination is more important. The fact that he had none to rely on and share pain with pushes him to do miracles, such as the perseverance on the battle against the marlin. Sometimes, isolation is essential for one to spend time with himself. Santiago's isolation also given him the opportunity to think and be in harmony with nature and himself. The old man might be tired physically, but his soul is filled with courage and toughness. Santiago told the boy that a man could be destroyed, but not defeated. This theme is also present in the life of famous composers such as Tchaikovsky. Tchaikovsky had lived his life in a state of depression, sadness, and isolation. His mother died when he was 14, he was away from his family for school, and he had problems with his orientation. For most of his life, He works alone in isolation and is ostracized from the world. Pathétique is his last symphony before his death. When it was still partially done, Tchaikovsky had problems with the court due to the news spread of his homosexuality. While composing Pathétique, Tchaikovsky was experiencing isolation as shown in the example. This art shown is a white crouching figure inside an isolated pitch-black room. The sculpture defines one's seclusion and frustration. It is isolated and is left in loneliness. This is an amplified version of the old man's frustration. The art also strongly represents the old man. Santiago is different to the people and he is inherently apart from the others. As you notice, the old man spends most of his time in the sea, alone, and even his daily life is based on isolation. While fishing, he separates himself from the world and is accompanied by nothing but nature. However, he could not bear with it, and so to overcome his physical isolation, he tried to talk to himself and nature to find an escape. His doubt, however, is useless because he managed to not forsake his beliefs and therefore pushes himself to the miracles.